The movie begins as two modern-looking black men in their fancy underwear are being sold off at an auction. They are chained by their necks, and it appears as if this is a slave market. Following this, the movie goes back into a flashback where it all started. It revolves around two estranged half-brothers, Regis and Joel Grossdeezer, from West Indies. They lead completely different lives. Joel is a monoracial black man fresh out of prison, after serving time for stealing an old woman's purse. Currently he lives with his mother and 9-year-old daughter. Joel is serially unemployed and blames racism for all his problems. However, he has never seriously tried to find work. On the other hand, Regis is a biracial man, who is married to a white woman and has a 9-year-old daughter. He lives in a rich town, and is well integrated into the upper-class society. Regis is employed at the local town hall, and works as an assistant to the mayor. One day, Regis receives a call from his uncle, informing him that his father is dying, and it is the old man's final wish to meet all his children. However, Regis pays no regard to his deadbeat father, as he was not there for him when Regis was a kid. He then proceeds to have dinner with his family, but his crazy wife threatens to get laid with other men if he doesn't pay his father a last visit. Left with no choice, he reluctantly agrees. Next day, Regis takes a flight to his hometown, where his father resides. At the airport, he runs into Joel, who has also come to see their father. The brothers, who have been out of contact for more than a decade, put their differences aside and hire a taxi together. They catch up in the taxi on their way to their father's home. Regis tells Joel everything about his successful life, while Joel lies to cover up his failures out of embarrassment. Upon reaching to their father's home, they are introduced to their aunt and several half-sisters. Turns out that their dad ventured throughout the world and had relations with countless women. The old man's eyes light up when he sees his only 2 sons before him. In his last moments, he tells Regis and Joel that they will inherit a great treasure. This excites the brother, and they eagerly wait to hear about the treasure, but to their dismay, all they receive as inheritance is a document of emancipation of their ancestors. This document was handed over to some slaves by their owners for some extraordinary work. Apparently, Regis and Joel's ancestors were granted freedom long before slavery was legally abolished in the West Indies. However, not concerned about the symbolic value of this piece of paper, they scoff at the inheritance. They derisively tear the paper up, under the disapproving eye of their late father's sister. As a result, this enrages the old woman, so she decides to teach the brats a lesson. She casts a voodoo spell on them, which sends them back to the 17th century, where slavery is still prevalent. In the next scene, when Regis and Joel wake up, they find terrified black people run past them. Just then 2 slave hunters also arrive, and capture the Grossdeezer brothers. They are then taken to a slave market, and sold to a landowner named Monsieur Jourdain. Jourdain assigns Joel to the farms, where he will work under the care of Henri, a brutal and deeply racist supervisor, while Regis is sent to the kitchens of the residents. Soon, the brothers discover that they have actually time-traveled to 1780, when slavery was a common thing. The next day, the slaves are forced to listen to a priest, who reads them a fake Bible about how black people should obey the whites. But since the Grossdeezer brothers are the only one there who can read besides the whites, they refuse to agree with the contents, and Regis even surprises the priest by reading him a line from the book. Later in the day, Joel shows up late to the fields and gets hit by Henri. Fed up with Henri's torture and behavior, Joel makes a run for it to escape the farm, but ends up hitting his head on a pole and knocking himself out. Due to his actions, he is punished in front of everyone. That night, Regis is called to Jourdain's office, where his ability to read is acknowledged. Jourdain praises him for being a smart slave, and gives him the privilege to control the other slaves with Henri. In the meantime, Joel is getting his wounds treated by a female slave, named Rosalie. It has been only 5 minutes since they have met, but Joel has already started liking her. At an opportune moment, he leans in for a kiss, only to get turned down. Rosalie then reveals that she is in love with a fellow slave, named Isidore, much to Joel's disappointment. The next day, Regis carries out his new duty and starts ordering and commanding other slaves to do their work. Joel is shocked to see his brother acting like the whites, and criticizes him for being selfish. However, Regis could care less, and he continues to be loyal to his new master, and reports his work throughout the day to Jourdain. Eventually, everyone in the White household finds out about his ability to read, and starts mocking him. They also joke about whether or not he can play the piano. To everyone's surprise, Regis plays the piano beautifully. However, this results in him getting whipped severely by the Whites. Finally fed up, Regis wants out, and the next morning, the two brothers flee the plantation by secretly hopping in the carriage of a Jewish man named Isaac. When they reach his place, Isaac approaches them and reveals that he knew about their presence all along. The brothers beg him for mercy, but to their surprise, Isaac provides them with great hospitality and care, as Jews are also a victim of discrimination. Soon, Jourdain's henchman arrives at Isaac's home, searching for the two brothers. Saying goodbye to Isaac, they flee through the back door before getting caught. They make their way to the shoreline, where they take an abandoned boat and set out into the ocean. Ironically, they cross paths with a ship that is used to transport slaves to auctions and are caught and imprisoned. At last, the brothers ends up in the same slave market, where they are bought by Jourdain's henchmen again. Fortunately, on their way back to the plantation, the brothers are saved by an African tribe who call themselves the Maroons. Here it is revealed that the people of the tribe were all slaves once, before they fled from their owners. The two are welcomed into the tribe, as they begin to chant with the tribe leader. However, Regis, who himself is married to a white girl, refuses to chant when the Maroons talk about killing all the white people. This enrages the tribe and they quickly turn on the brothers. But fortunately, Regis and Joel manage to outrun the tribe and reach safety. The next day, the two find themselves in an unknown place, where they see their aunt who cast a spell on them. The brothers soon realize that it was she who was responsible for all of this. They plead with her to remove the spell, and mentions that they will do anything for it. Initially, the old woman refuses, but when the brothers keep pleading, she gives them a hint. She tells them that the only way for them to get back to the present is to reach the plantation again, and reunite their ancestors, Isidore and Rosalie. She also tells them to rectify the error, without elaborating any further. Before leaving, the woman leaves behind her special pipe, and instructs the brothers to smoke it when they have successfully completed their mission. As the two are brainstorming ways to tackle the situation, Joel suddenly remembers seeing what seemed like Isidore having oral intercourse with another man, and also recording a video of it on his phone. He shows it to Regis, then the two brothers are mistakenly convinced that Isidore is homosexual, and this is the error that the old woman asked them to rectify. In the next scene, Joel and Regis return back to the plantation, where they try to negotiate with Jourdain on their punishment, but it doesn't work for them, and instead, they get branded with the sigil of the plantation. They then return to their hut and begin to plan their course of action. Meanwhile, inside the mansion, the Whites are celebrating the wedding party of Jourdain's daughter. Taking this as the perfect distraction, the brothers organize a party of their own for the slaves. They secretly steal a barrel of rum from the distillery, to intoxicate and activate the romance between Rosalie and Isidore. However, their plan hits a roadblock, when Regis finds Joel making out with Rosalie due to his infatuation with her. Afterwards, the two brothers improvise and physically helps the couple have intercourse as they are asleep. Wait, what? Once this is done, they are convinced that their mission there is accomplished. Believing that they can go home whenever they like, the brothers decide to take revenge on the Whites. They then make their way into the mansion, armed, where they humiliate everyone. Joel kisses the daughter of Jourdain, whereas Regis starts damaging furniture and even slaps a white man. All of a sudden, Henri barges into the room with a gun, threatening the brothers, but still, Regis and Joel show no signs of fear, and proceed to use the pipe. But unfortunately, when they smoke it, nothing happens. It appears as if the magical pipe given by the old lady was replaced with an ordinary one. As a result of their deeds, they are locked in a cage, and are condemned to execution the next day. That night, the brothers get emotional and start contemplating their life choices. Regis talks about his failing marriage, while Joel confesses that he is broke and jobless. After a few hours, as the brothers are still sympathizing with each other, Henri arrives and takes them out to the field, where they are supposed to be hanged. However, right before the execution, Jourdain's son Victor runs off into the forest, as he is too scared to watch the execution. Rosalind chases after him and soon finds out that he has fallen into the nearby river. All members of the family panic and runs to the river. However, Isidore takes advantage of the uproar and saves the brothers. He then orders them to run for their lives, and they do just that. As the brothers flee, they come across Victor, who is being swept by the stream. Without a second thought, the two jump into the river, but to Regis's surprise, Joel cannot swim. This makes it difficult for Regis, but somehow, he manages to save both of them. Grateful to the brothers for saving his son's life, Jourdain sets them free, but on top of that, the brothers are awarded with the very same document of emancipation that they were provided with by their late father. However, instead of accepting the freedom and the award, they request Jourdain to free Isidore and Rosalie, and also give the document to them. Jourdain finds the request very strange, but nonetheless he agrees. In this way, the brothers have managed to free Isidore and Rosalie, but they still don't know where to find the magical pipe, which will help them return back to the modern time. With days passing by, they slowly begin to accept that they may never return to their time. One day, Isidore and Rosalie greet the brothers goodbye, and leave the plantation with the papers. As the two watches them leave from afar, Henri approaches them and orders them to get back to work. He then takes out his pipe and starts smoking, but when he tries to humiliate the brothers by blowing smoke in their faces, they suddenly disappear, indicating that Henri was the one who stole the magical pipe from them. In the next scene, the brothers return back to the present, where they see their aunt beside them. And when they see her holding the original document in her hand, the brothers become relieved. Several months pass by. Joel finds a regular job on a construction site, where he still complains about his minimum wage, believing that it is because he's black. Meanwhile, Regis returns to his work at the town hall. One day, as he is about to leave his office, he greets the mayor, who passes a racist joke. Regis, being no longer the biracial person he once was, stand up to the mayor, before storming off. The scene then cuts to Regis and his wife along with Joel and his mother, chatting in Regis's living room. The brothers agree that the adventure they had brought them closer as a family. But an argument between their respective daughters leads to the tearing of the document of emancipation. Regis and Joel run towards their daughters in panic. This is where the movie ends. Subscribe to the channel if you love movies. Like and share the video, we appreciate it. See you again.